We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to this published author's interview. My name is Kenneth Muyingo, and with me I have a special guest that I will be interviewing. But before I get into that, I just want to mention that if you would like to write a book yourself and become an author, there is a link with this interview. Click on the link and join the group, become an author and write your first book to connect with like-minded people who are doing the same. And with that said, I would like to get into the interview and ask my guest to introduce himself and say hello to our viewers.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us about yourself? Who are you? If somebody's watching this interview and they would like to know more about you.
Oh, okay, my name's Brian Smith. I live in Ohio. I was born and raised in Ohio. I love horror movies, love black and white crime noir movies. I don't watch enough of them, but I'd like to someday. I also like I say, like Pulp Fiction, crime noir kind of stuff. I like horror anthology shows. I love Matt. I grew up with like one of the two greatest anthology shows on TV, you know, Tales from the Dark Side and Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Never missed an episode of either one. I love to write horror fiction. I like to take everybody's little perfect bubble and just do what I can to ruin it.
Wow.
And yeah.
So you take the corporate bubble and you do whatever you can to ruin it.
I just take the perfect picturesque life and just go, you know what? I'm just gonna rip this out from the inside and just go from there.
Amazing. Quite a journey. So you like horror movies and you are
Love
also a writer.
Yeah.
What I want us to talk about. Tell us about your books and the vision that you have for writing.
Well, my vision is I want to kind of bring a different. Every author wants to bring something new to the table. Okay, yeah. They want to bring something new to the table. I want to kind of remind people that, hey, that thing crawling across your shoulder, it's not the wind. The pipes, the sound of the pipes groaning, it's not that. You know, I want the things in the dark to have a purpose, to have a meaning. Yeah. You know, and with my vision, I want to tell people not everything is as it looks. Okay.
Yeah.
There's how can I say this? Remember the early Scooby-Doo movies? Yeah. I mean, cartoons. Yeah. Where there was never an actual creature, there was never an actual villain. Yeah. There was always somebody behind the mask. Yeah. I want to take that mask and I want to say, no, that's not a mask. That's actually a real creature. That's actually a real vampire. That's actually a real werewolf. Yeah. There's no mask. Okay. I heard John Carpenter, one of the greatest horror movie directors. Okay. One of the greatest. And I love his work. He used to say, he said in an interview, there are two templates for horror. One is we're sitting at a campfire. We're sitting around a campfire and there's a shaman at the head of the fire. And he points out to the forest and he says, the evil's in there. It's out there. And he says, the second template is we're sitting around a campfire and the shaman says, the evil's not out there. It's in here. It's in us. And I heard that interview and I was like, wow. I was like literally blown away. Yeah. And ever since I heard that, I wanted to apply that to my vision. I wanted to apply that.
But it's in here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and I've always wanted to apply that to my vision of, you know, writing. I've always wanted to kind of tell people, yeah, it's in us. It's always going to be in us. There's always this inner beast. There's always this inner darker side of us. And sometimes, yeah, it's evil. And sometimes it's helpful, you know?
Amazing. So tell us about your most recent publication.
Well, my most recent publication is Dark Avenues. It's a short story collection. I have enjoyed short stories as a child. I would go to, when I was a kid, we lived in California in '89. Weren't there for long. And we would always go into this. There was a video store was run by a Vietnamese couple, and they were the nicest couple in the world. Miss them people dearly. And I would always walk in there and always check out Twilight Zone the movie. That was my favorite movie as a child, was Twilight Zone the movie. Yeah. And that was my first foray into short stories. My next one was when I was 13, my brother and I would go to the local library, and he would check out Stephen King and Clive Barker. And he's 18 months older than I am. I'm going to be 40 this September. Not looking forward to it. But, he always got, like, Stephen King and Clive Barker. If I got anything Stephen King, it had to be a short story collection. Ray Bradbury short story collection. Whatever it was, it had to be a short story collection. And the more I started reading, it was like, I've got to put one of my own out. I've got to put one of my own out. There's no doubt about it. I've got to do one on my own. Yeah. And I sat there for a while, and I said, you know what? I'm actually going to do this. So it took me 8 months to get it done, because I was getting picky and all OCD about it. I was like, I'm going to put this one in, but I'm going to take these two out and put these three in, and take those three back out, put those two back in. Yeah. And it was just, it was just one thing after another, and I was like, oh my God, I got to be, because it's got to be perfect. This is my first, this is the meal I'm bringing to the table. Yeah. And it has to leave people starved. It has to leave people, that was really good food, but, and I finally sat down and did it. And I enjoyed every minute of it, because each story has a piece of myself in it. It has a piece of my past. And honestly, I've never told anybody this. This will be a first. I almost did not give it the name Dark Avenues. It was almost called Pieces of Me, because each story represented a part of my life, or represented a part of my childhood, or whatever I did from there on. And I just enjoyed doing it, and I'm looking forward to doing more of them in the future,
Amazing. Dark Avenue, what inspired you to write Dark Avenue? I understood that you were, when you were younger and you were going to the bookstore, yes, you were getting all these short stories of Stephen King or other writers, but there is a point, like you said, that you are like sort of thinking about it and then not doing it, and then thinking about it and then not doing it, and then you get to a point and you're like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I've got to. I was literally meant to do it. It was just something that was like, it's like a angel or demon on your shoulder. It's like, yes, do it, they'll love it. Really? You think they will? And it's like, yeah. Okay, fine, I'll listen to you this time. And it inspired me because, like I said, short stories they're kind of like, how can I say, they're like short movies. They're like short films, you know? And with short stories, they're kind of like, I want to say, like the last sip of tea, Yeah. I enjoyed doing Dark Avenues. I enjoyed writing the title story for it. I wrote the title story before I did the actual book. And the title story came to me on a whim. I wrote down some writing exercises, and one of them was write something about that happened in your childhood. Well, I remember going to summer camp and doing headstone rubbings. And if you don't know what those are, it's where you tape a piece of paper to a headstone and you rub chalk across it, and you get like this chalk version of what the face of the tombstone says.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that'd be kind of cool to do. I wonder what I could do with it. And the more I got thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have this guy whose wife is dead, whose wife was killed right in front of him before his eyes. And he's going to continue these headstone rubbers because it was what they did when they were married. It was something that connected them in a way. They could go to other countries and get other people's tombstones and, get this. And that's what kind of united them as not just as a couple, but it was that one thing that they had in common that they loved to do. And when he goes to get this certain headstone rubbing, it doesn't come out as good. The girl's name is not popping up. It's these other names that are popping up. And he starts to get stalked by her ghost.
Wow.
And eventually he figures out, okay, I'm supposed to solve this girl's murder. I'm supposed to give this girl's mother and uncle the justice that I never received because they never caught his wife's killer. I want to give them satisfaction and justice because they deserve it, And I just went with that, and I wrote that thing 3 times, and I went deeper with it because in 2013, my mother died. She died of an aneurysm. And the viewpoint that I started to gather about death, it helped me go back into that and go, okay, now I can put some feeling into this book. I can say something that will connect with the reader and go, you hit this on the nail because I lost a relative of my own,
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you consider yourself as a naturally talented writer, or is writing a skill that you have developed over time?
Yeah, I first did it when I was 13. I was not part of the in crowd. I was not a popular kid. It was something I did to kind of just fill the time. And I kind of just went off and was doing it to be doing it. And I was like, okay, I was going to do this. And here it started to become something that I enjoy doing. I grew up with Stephen King movies and Freddy and Jason and all those 80s slasher movies, Slumber Party Massacre and, Bugs Gone Bad movies, which were my favorite. My favorite Bugs Gone Bad movie is Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner. And I started to apply that, and my 6th grade teacher was the one who talked me into doing it a lot. He was like, you have a good vision, you have a good skill and talent, you need to keep on doing this. And I would just like, sure, yeah, just compliment him.
Yeah.
But then I started writing more, and and then I did it all through high school, and I had an English teacher say, this is actually good, you need to keep doing this. Yeah. So that was 2 people that told me to keep on doing it.
Amazing.
And I just did it. Yeah.
Wow, very, very inspiring that you had 2 people who encouraged you in your writing career. It's that's quite unique, because many people that I talk to say they never got that encouragement, and they had to push themselves to get it out of themselves. And you mentioned about the passing of your mother in 2013. That's quite unfortunate, and sorry for your loss concerning your mother.
Thank you.
Is there a point in your life that you can point to and you say, this is the one thing that has happened in my life that has had the greatest impact on me writing books?
I had to say it was my mother's death, because she would constantly, she would read my stuff, and literally she would hug me and say, it's good, but I don't like the part where they throw the cat out the window. And you need to fix this word in this sentence. She was always kind of like my cheerleader, you know, and she hated it when I would submit to those markets that they did it for free, you know. She would always go off. She would always fly off the handle and go, you should at least get $5. You sit and sit. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and, you know, you should get something for it. And it always angered her that I, you know, never, you know, I didn't get, you know, a couple bucks here, or at least a copy of the anthology here. She was always like, you should get something. You work hard for this. And she was always like cheering me on. She was always, you know, yeah, I'm so proud of you, you know, yeah. And when she died, it was just like a part of me I had to kind of recover that part of myself. I had to go off and go, hey, you deserve something for this. Don't take nothing less. I mean, like I said, if it's $5 or a copy of the anthology, I mean, I don't care if it's even electric. I can at least save in my email, and I can at least, you know, I have a copy of this here. It's, you know, it's there. But she was always like rooting for me, and like I said, when she died, it was just, yeah, that cheerleader spirit kind of went with her, and I had to kind of do that for myself, you know.
I see. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
no problem.
Are you currently working on any other projects as far as your writing is concerned?
I'm working on my second novel. It is a zombie novel. I've always wanted to do zombies. I was told that the day before my mother gave, the night before my mother gave birth to me, her and my dad went to a drive-in double feature of the original Night of the Living Dead and 1985 Day of the Dead.
Wow.
So I was already indoctrinated with the zombie culture already. You know, I'm sitting there in the valley, just you know, a fetus, and I'm just sucking taking all this in. and I just, it was one of them. I had to do it. It's something, again, like Dark Avenues and the short stories. I had to do Dark Avenues. I got to do this one because, I mean, I'm a faithful Romero fan. I would rather watch the Romero movies than watch the actual show, The Walking Dead. You know, I've read the comics, and the comics are good. I've got nothing against the comics or the show, but it's just like I'd rather watch George Romero's because his always had a sense of these are regular people. They're not, you know, common. They're trapped. They're somehow, for some reason, they're always trapped. They're always locked in. They're cornered by their own fates, and along the way, they've got these things stumbling around wanting to kill them. So there's a sense of cabin fever, claustrophobia. There's a sense of, you know, you're waiting for one of these people to crack, you know? And that's what I've always liked about this movie, is that you're waiting for somebody to crack, because that insanity is either going to cause a rift between them and their characters and the other characters, or it's going to get them killed. And this novel is, the zombie apocalypse is started because of COVID-19.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it's this man, he drives around in a boat and he delivers food and supplies to people who don't want to go and leave their houses because they're sheltered up. He gets into a hairy situation where he agrees to take these kids to a safe zone in Texas, and these three guys, they knock him out, they take the supplies off his boat, and they throw his spark plug in the river. So he's stranded. He's got these two kids, and he's not going to leave them there. So now he has to make this on-foot journey across this zombie-ridden city to go get this part, to get back to the boat in one piece and deliver on his promise. And along the way, he meets some people. He deals with his own guilt. He deals with his own guilt, and that in a way is gonna. I think people are gonna look at this guy like he's a good guy because of what he's doing, but I don't like what he did before everything went bad. You know.
I see. Wow, amazing. Well, thank you so much for this wonderful insights about your journey of writing and what you are working on. And where can people buy your books, and how can people connect with you? If someone watches this interview and they would like to get more of Brian, how would they connect with you, and where can they buy your book?
They're on Amazon. The book Dark Avenues is available on paperback and Kindle version. I put the Kindle version on sale for $2.99 because I wanted people to be able, if you're going to be stuck at home, you're looking for something to read, I don't want you spending 20 or 10 bucks to get it. Yeah. $3, boom, it's yours. And I have a couple of and the title story is on there as well, Dark Avenues, and I have 2 more Kindle books on there. One of them is, I think it's like a short story, and the other one is another novelette or novel. I'm not sure how. I think it's a novelette. It's like 35 pages. Yeah, I think it's like 35, 40 pages long. No. But and then there's anthologies where my stories have been printed at.
Yeah,
those are on there. And this summer, I'm going to be included in another anthology that will be placed on there. I don't know if I'm going to submit my second book as another Amazon. I may try a traditional publisher this time and see if I can get with them and see if they'll publish it. Yeah.
Very nice. We will put the links with the interview online for the book, Dark Avenue. And if anybody wants to get it, and what about connecting with you? How can people connect with you? What's the best way?
I'm on Facebook.
Awesome.
I'm on Instagram and Twitter.
Nice. We will put the links with the interview as well.
Okay.
And is there anything else that you would like to mention that we have not touched on in the interview?
Just for everybody, I hope everybody stays safe, and they wash their hands and be careful going out there, because this, as much as people enjoy being outdoors, I don't think it's worth getting sick over, and I know for a fact we're going to get over this at some point in time. I hope we get over this some point in time. Everything can turn back to normal,
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Brian. It's been a pleasure as well as a privilege for me to do this. And I will be keeping in touch with you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And thank you for interviewing me.
You're welcome.